I remember it exactly. It's vivid and unforgettable. It was an event that marked a turning point in my Daydream Inc. days. The good friend summoning ritual.
1. On a smooth floor, dip your finger in water and draw a hexagram using the enclosed design.
I ran to the bathroom, got some water, poured it on the office floor, and began drawing the pattern with my finger. Strangely enough, I could recall the design with perfect clarity, as if someone had etched it into my mind. In no time at all. The floor was covered with the damp outline of the hexagram, but there was one difference. I placed the non-functional Magic Bunny mascot suit in the center of the completed hexagram, and, as carefully as I could, I reached for a coin, but I couldn't get the coin out. The original silver serpent coin used to summon a good friend. It was inside my mascot costume, inside the security team's uniform under that, and all the way down in the pocket of my regular clothes. But I couldn't take off the mascot suit. I opened the office drawer and took out a cheerful coin. This is a coin, too. Even though it's a plastic token, it's still definite currency, and it fits the intent of coin in this ritual. It doesn't have to be a real metal coin, it just needs to be a small round object with monetary value. I made sure the mascot's glove was completely dry, then picked up the coin and placed it on the mascot suit's belly. I hurried on to the next step.
4. Hold a tablespoon of salt in your mouth and burn the item related to a friend using fire. 5. When the good friend starts to speak, swallow the salt and return the greeting kindly. If the coin has disappeared, the ritual was successful. You have met a reliable friend. Always keep them close and cherish them. Natter. If you cannot swallow the salt, tastes strange, turns to ash, or if blood comes out, run away.
There was little time left. The standard mascots came running from the room service storage, carrying salt. I snatched the salt up outside the office and put it in my mouth. Would it work? Putting it in my mouth while I was wearing the mascot suit. I cautiously opened the yellow mascot's mouth and poured the salt inside, then closed it. Now, there was one last thing to do. Burn something. Last time I'd used my necktie, but I didn't have one now. I took off the yellow bow tie from around the mascot's neck and held it in my hand. Then I brought it to the flame of a prepared candle. The bow tie flared up in the fire. The oddly tall flame brought back memories of the time I had summoned Good Friend before. A huge shadow fell across the pink mascot suit. I know that, as long as you used a suitable medium, it would come. The shadow seemed to move as if the mascot suit itself was about to stir. Any moment now. Within the dark shadow, the massive mascot suit opened its mouth.
My resort has called me back. Ha 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 ha. My resort, my resort, my resort. Beautiful flower golden resort.
In the center of the hexagram, the mascot suit shook with spasmodic laughter. I watched, frozen. Its upper body sat up. It twisted its head around to look at me. The cheerful coin placed on its belly sizzled as it burned, then was sucked into the mascot suit. The stench of burning plastic filled the facilities office. The water on the hexagram vibrated and blood flowed. From the eye holes and mouth of the mascot suit, something like melted plastic dripped out. It rose to its feet on the hexagram. I needed to end the ritual, right now. I tried to swallow the salt. If I just got the salt water down my throat... Why don't I have a throat?
Ha 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 ha.
I looked down at myself and realized something shocking. I don't have a body. Inside this mascot suit, I was filled with stuffing. And the reason was, I hadn't returned to my own body. After meeting the blue mascot, and after Supervisor Lee Songgae killed Ladybug, when I rushed back to the resort, instead of moving my original body, I'd started using one of the standard mascot bodies as if it were mine. And I'd kept doing that. I had forgotten that I even had an original body. Right now, I'm using a standard mascot's body. Then, where's my original body? Don't tell me. When the Magic Bunny attacked earlier, was it torn apart as one of those standard mascots? If my real body had been torn up, there would have been blood and real entrails, not just stuffing and cloth organs. There was no yellow mascot like that. My body must be somewhere. And the thing summoned by the Good Friend ritual, whose call had it responded to? My reasoning was right. A mascot costume was indeed a suitable medium for the invitation ritual, because it's not a plush sold at the souvenir shop. It has no Good Friend seal or restriction.
Hello? Hello, answer me.
The mascot suit twists, transforming into something grotesque. That's not a good friend. It's just something from the other side.
Greet me warmly and accept me, you hollow thing.
My resort. Don't tell me that.
Behold the true mascot.
The being within the hexagram begins lurching out of the mascot suit. Petals of a bizarre fractal structure, shining in dirty gold, burst upward and fall back down, threatening to pierce its head. The silhouette from the ruined resort sign. The mascot, resembling a golden flower, was inside sight. The invitation ritual, performed by a standard mascot, had awakened and called the deceased original owner of this resort. Who knows where they'd been since dying? The papers on the desk tremble. A pen, all alone, dances across the document that once celebrated my appointment. The true owner of the resort has appeared. I was nothing but a pitiful interim manager, just holding his seat until now. Now, I must humbly hand over everything I've built to him and step aside. Everything was undoubtedly prepared for this moment. The document floats toward me. The pen scribbles furiously in my own handwriting. He will perform the ceremony. The great Flower Golden will personally take back the mascot position and run this resort. Up until now, I had been borrowing his power. I dared to take the seat of a temporary manager, but it's all over now. Completely accept him, become part of him, and follow the mascot. The mascot suit moved to the edge of the hexagram, peering at me. The ritual had failed. I needed to run. But where could I run to? And up until now, I'd been following the excellent advice of those documents. Now that it's been revealed that these documents were following the true mascot's will all along, surely the right thing is to submit to the true mascot. Work regulations, employment contracts, guest policies, all things I'd written while fighting against the will of the mascot that wanted to run the resort in its own monstrous way. I looked at the being inside the hexagram. I grabbed the document and stood before it. My head was pounding, but I could handle it, because I'd realized something.
Not qualified.
How dare you say such a...
I crumpled up the document.
You're a specter who lost your territory by dying to another mascot. The very being who killed you and turned this resort into ruins is right outside the garden, ready to re-enter this zone and start hunting again. Let me show you proof.
I flung open the office door. Directly across the hall was a large window. Through that window, where it was too dark outside to see much, the bright office was reflected instead. There it was, clearly visible. The silhouette atop the hexagram in the reflection. The mascot suit touched its face, reached up to its head and checked for the two ears sticking up, and then looked down at its own hands. Red fur, rabbit paws. Its hands trembled violently and its limbs twisted with terror.
Magic bunny. Ooh, ah! Save me, please save me. Don't take out my guts. My resort.
I hurriedly dumped salt over the office floor. White salt poured over the blood and black plastic drawing the hexagram, erasing the pattern. As it was erased, the mascot suit was gradually pushed toward the center, clutching its head and screaming.
Run away. Magic bunny is coming. The red mascot is coming. It's coming along the red path. Ah! Save me. It's infiltrating. The wriggling red inside the suit ate me. Only the dregs remain underground. Save me. Disappear, red thing, disappear, red thing, disappear thing, disappear thing, disappear thing, disappear then, please.
The summoned one, who had been tearing at its head, finally tore its own head off. With both hands, as if wishing to get farther away, or in awe or in terror, it lifted the mascot head high into the air. Raised it up, I sank down onto the office floor. I thought I was done for. I almost got absorbed and ended with the standard Lent mascot ending. Even though this body is just stuffing, my heart felt like it would burst. Still, somehow, I managed to handle it, and it feels like I achieved something impressive, but what's important now? I looked at the clock. 49 minutes left until closing. Should I be dismayed or relieved that all this chaos only took 10 minutes? What matters is one thing. I failed to summon a good friend. This definitely means something. I learned the true identity of what was forcing me to run this resort. I straightened the crumpled document and picked up the pen. I didn't feel that odd sense of control anymore. I'll be able to write the operating rules more freely now. Even things I couldn't write before, things that would harm the successful operation of the resort, I think I can now implement as I wish. Just like the crazy things Magic Bunny does. Still, if only I'd had a bit more time, maybe I could have succeeded. That lingering regret clung to my back. Was it the coin that was the problem, or the bow tie, or maybe he just decided not to answer. Maybe the fatal flaw was that I didn't summon it with my original body. I gathered up the documents, looking for even a little bit of extra protection, and set out to find the blue mascot. The telephone on the office was ringing. I stared at it, frozen. Had the phone ever rung at this resort before? Room service calls use a walkie-talkie that plays a calling melody. Summoning a mascot makes a real bell sound, but this was an old-fashioned ring. Someone was calling. I walked over to the desk and picked up the old-fashioned receiver. A dark brown, elegant wooden phone. A cheerful and pleasant male voice sounded out from within.
Hello! What a fine night. Oh, I'd be very grateful if you could connect me to the talented and cheerful mascot of Flower Golden Resort. Oh, it's you. Perfect. Actually, I'd like to rent your simple and beautiful resort for a few days. As you know, a celebrity needs a private place to relax. So I was thinking of spending my summer vacation at your resort.
I'm quitting?
Oh my, but why didn't you hand over the resort to that fellow just now? He seemed so desperate! I'm kidding! Ha ha ha! It's quite unpleasant that such a crude person tried to snatch away the resort you've nurtured.
The distinctive voice of the host comes from the phone.
It was an excellent idea to try to summon me, but you were so deeply immersed in the show that you overlooked a few things. Of course, that's the talent of a performer fully immersed, and it's fitting for the genre, but if it goes on too long, it gets boring. Now it's time for the perfect advisor for you to appear. At the perfect moment for fun. So, from now on, your friend will offer you a few kind words of advice.
The voice on the phone lowers.
Now, hold the receiver and listen carefully to the amazing voice of this brawn.
The host's friendly advice began to flow from the telephone.
Classic, cheerful, and with a distinctive accent. My heartfelt advice is already prepared, but no matter how good the advice is, it's meaningless if you're not ready to listen to it. So, first, I need to properly introduce you to your current situation, Mr. Rodeer.
Introduce my situation to me.
I held the receiver and gradually fell into a strange sense of immersion, as if the conversation was spreading beyond hearing to all 5 senses.
Oh, good! Then let me introduce it. Rodeer's Great Adventures Resort Arc!
A classic band sound and applause as the curtain rises. As if rewinding a sitcom, my days from the very first day I entered cheerful theme park begin playing before my eyes. Me, waking up in the resort facilities office wearing a security team uniform.
What a fun costume! Isn't it rather nice? A beast restrained by a belt, so typical of horror and allure. But it's not bad. Not bad at all!
With cheerful sound effects, the things I did are edited and pass by in quick succession.
That was the moment you became the owner of this resort. The mascot's deformed style looks a little childish. But it's fine! This is a theme park after all! Yellow bow ties for all employees? Oh my! It would have been better to just put mascot suits on all of them! Good heavens. Goodness, giving out gifts and free spa services too? That's a promotion so outrageous all the world's gloomy souls would come running! Well, unless the resort goes bankrupt first, of course!
Scenes flash by rapidly, edited for speed. Braun's cheerful commentary turns my desperate survival story into something like a fun and successful resort management tale.
The dead staff rise up and start working again! Thus, Mr. Rodeer learns another valuable mascot lesson. You can't fix a person, but you can fix an employee!
Did I really do all that? It was an odd feeling. After all, true immersion is when you get absorbed in something that's not your own experience. In other words, it's based on distance. So, the yellow mascot's actions in the flashback felt like something to be evaluated, not relived.
And another! Someone unsuited to the dignity of the resort is thrown out the lobby doors once again!
At some point during the past few days, I'd started endlessly adding new guest and staff rules, gradually becoming the resort's powerful and fearsome manager. A typical cheerful theme park mascot.
Look at your rigorous guest selection process!
The more successful the resort became, the more powerful I grew. As the resort expanded, brought in more guests, earned better reviews, and made more profit, I began to judge management policy not by safety, but by the presence or absence of discomfort. A feeling of wrongness slowly crept in, and then the scene finally reached the moment I changed bodies. In the flashback, I naturally transferred my consciousness into a standard mascot to deal with the chaos inside the resort when Supervisor Lee Seonge killed Ladybug. Seeing it this way, it really was a perspective and ability that was no longer human.
This is the scene. Here's my first piece of advice for you, Mr. Rodeer. Let's focus on this moment. But
With a tape rewind sound, the scene rewinds.
it'll be fun to watch it from a different angle this time.
My consciousness, which had moved into a standard mascot, and what was left behind, my body. The yellow mascot, standing at the gate to the blue zone, stands still for a moment, then soon begins handing out balloons and greeting guests at the gate. Just like the standard mascots, thank goodness. It was right there the whole time. Since it was next to the blue zone gate, it shouldn't have been harmed or gone missing. Although I was immediately struck by horror at the thought that my own body could be treated like a standard mascot. Anyway, an overwhelming sense of relief washed over me for a moment. Now I just have to retrieve my body and quickly perform the ceremony.
Shh, let's enjoy just a little more.
But the advice wasn't over.
Now then, here it comes. Oh, what a foul and rude intruder!
The flashback fast-forwards again, soon leading to the recent rampage of Magic Bunny's crazy gate attack. The missing people, driven insane by torture from the red mascot, wail and beg and die as lunatics. It was a hellish scene.
A surprise attack! What an electrifying event that ratchets up the tension! Oh, your response is great too!
One by one, countless missing people who were once ordinary become terrifying monsters, shouting for the red mascot, being killed like a joke, and rising again as red mascots. And in the scene, the yellow mascot, filled with rage, threatened by throwing the corpse of the red mascot back through the gate. From the black shadow of the mascot whose territory had been invaded, strange golden branches bulged out and then disappeared. Instead of feeling devastated or terrified by what happened, what came first was the anger of having my territory invaded. I was going to punish the intruders? That's really how it was. A chilling sensation crawled up my back. In the end, I came to a conclusion about the evaluation of my own actions. Thoroughly contaminated. As the yellow mascot, I had already become thoroughly assimilated into this resort. Under the pretense of acting for the sake of escape, I was doing everything I could to make the resort more successful and expand it. And the principles of the resort, which I had originally created for safety, had ended up dominating me, enforcing etiquette and dignity above all else. The means and the ends had been reversed. I flailed my arms and then realized, why do I still have my right arm? This was already my 5th day here. So why was my right arm still moving without any problem? The Dokebi flame that mimicked my right arm should be recharged every 3 days, yet there's been no reaction. Even my original body, which I'd left near the blue zone gate, still had its right arm intact. I had reached a point where I could move my right arm just by having the form of a mascot suit. A cold realization ran down my spine. Just how much have I been consumed by the mascot? It wasn't simply a matter of how long I'd been a mascot, but rather, the more successfully the resort was operated, the deeper this consumption became.
That's right. You were far too devoted to your role as the mascot of this resort. And it's already too late. You can't quit on your own anymore. You are now a member of the cheerful theme park. You even personally drove out your meddlesome predecessor just now. The resort is now completely yours! Oh, it seems that's the case, doesn't it? And once the final announcement is made, everyone will know the truth. I'm talking about your soon-to-begin event, the Flower Golden Resort Illumination!
The mascot ceremony. The mascot ceremony is a ritual that officially announces which mascot owns the Flower Golden Resort and has it recognized by the guests. If it's carried out successfully, that fame can be used as a stepping stone to expand to yet another facility. The ceremony is about establishing one's identity as a mascot. So, the moment the ceremony is completed successfully, I'll be officially recognized as a complete mascot. All traces of my former self will be colored over, and there won't even be a remnant of self left to separate from the mascot.
I agree. What a boring fate it would be to spend the rest of your days in such a musty old resort. Mr. Rodeer, you have an obligation to keep experiencing and showing entertaining things. It's something you personally promised your friend. That's right! I am your friend! The very reason you came here!
The kind voice continued to guide me.
You wish to leave this place, don't you, Mr. Rodeer? Then you'd best keep listening to my advice. Just take the receiver with you, friend. Now, quickly unplug it and bring it along! Good!
With trembling forepaws, I unplugged the receiver and picked it up. The voice still came from the receiver, even after it was unplugged.
Now, let me give you my final piece of advice. Don't be surprised. It's a magical solution that can get you out of this predicament! And that is,
The voice drops to a whisper.
switch your place as mascot with one of the employees. There's no need to make a brand new mascot! Just have him imitate you. If you make him perform the ceremony in your place, he'll be mistaken for you. After all, if everyone thinks so, that's what becomes reality. Oh, this will be so much fun! Someone might feel sorry for that fate, but you can just pick one of those who exist only for your sake! The two employees who swore to serve you forever until the contract ends, who have nowhere else to return.
Those brought back from the dead.
That's right. The chosen one will faithfully carry on your mascot duties. Well, until he's eaten alive by the red mascot, anyway. Choose one of the two, and make him perform the mascot ceremony in your place, Mr. Roe Deer! Very simple, isn't it? If I dare guess, this is as good as already decided.
The voice rises in excitement.
The one your heart is pointing to, if you were to say the name?
I raised my trembling body and grabbed the facility's room door. The time left until closing, 45 minutes.
Oh, don't tell me you're saying you'll spend the rest of your days in this dusty old theme park, friend. You, who have turned down a far more wonderful and suitable job for your talents, much less this one. Then do you have another alternative? How surprising! It must be quite a remarkable idea if you're rejecting advice from this brawn here.
I walked out of the facility office with a sense of resolve, and I declared into the receiver. For a moment there was silence on the other end, as if startled. Of course, the legendary host was quick to recover and speak smoothly.
Good heavens. Mr. Roe Deer, destroying this resort doesn't mean you'll be freed from your mascot duties. In fact, you'll only have to deal with tremendous expenses. Where on earth did you get that reckless and useless idea?
It's worthwhile I had finished my conversation with the blue mascot by using my original body, which was standing by the blue zone gate. I took a deep breath. Flower Golden Resort, Evening Garden. They're still here. The magic bunnies continued to stare. The cute rabbit mascot, without the slightest movement, was watching the Flower Golden Resort's garden and the employees within. Dozens of mascot suits stared at me in silence. It was a bizarre and unnerving experience, all the more so if you had seen those mascot suits tearing out human entrails and laughing just a few dozen minutes earlier. A few of the employees were breaking out in cold sweat, though this wasn't just because of those unnerving stares.
Why isn't he coming?
The yellow mascot still isn't here. Because they had all received a direct order from the mascot to look after the guests, they couldn't leave their posts. But the employer who had dragged a magic bunny mascot into the resort was still nowhere to be seen. 10 minutes, 20 minutes passed, each one feeling like an hour.
Don't you know how much time is left now?
There are 40 minutes left until closing.
The Disaster Management Bureau agent hesitated, hiding behind the team leader to avoid the Daydream Inc. employee in the lizard mask. The team leader stifled a sigh. Should I be preparing just in case? She gripped the four-tiger sword in her inner pocket. And it wasn't just her getting ready for a fight. Some of the Daydream Inc. employees seemed to be limbering up. Looks like some pretty tough ones. She was eyeing them sharply, checking if their masks bore the gold emblem. But at that moment, the one in the dolphin mask clapped his hands and waved. There, the yellow mascot suit was waddling with all its might, running toward the resort, the mascot with glass golden flowers adorning his horns inside. At that moment, chills ran down the team leader's back. He's gotten stronger. He felt somehow like a far greater presence. It was as if his power could be felt directly on her skin, but his outward appearance hadn't changed. Did he devour something on the way? But regardless of her suspicions, the yellow mascot's gentle manner as he checked on each of the staff one by one was not reassuring. It was almost like he was checking on his employees, making sure everyone was safe before calling all the other mascots together. The team leader raised her hand.
You said after the event, when the amusement park closes. That thing comes, right? Do you have any countermeasures?
The yellow mascot turned to the team leader and held out his hand. And so, with 30 minutes left until closing, the long-delayed extravagant illumination event began. In the evening garden of Flower Golden Resort, lights bloom. A beam of light shoots into the sky, spectacularly exploding, cascading glittering lights like a waterfall onto the resort building. All around the garden, flowers of various colors blossom in radiant light, dancing gently and blooming sequentially as if choreographed. Even the luminous flowers held aloft by the non-human guests glow, eliciting exclamations of awe. A sight so breathtaking it borders on the uncanny. And soon after, the resort building itself begins to bloom with light. Vines of glowing light climb upward, glittering along windows and terraces, rising to the very top of the building before bursting brilliantly into shimmering, pollen-like specks of radiance. Letters carve themselves out in mid-air. At last, he has stepped fully into the spotlight. The owner of this resort. The yellow mascot walks out to the center of the garden, accompanied by numerous mascots, performing choreographed dances. With each of their movements, the lights dance in harmony. The cheerful theme song of Cheerful Theme Park flows through the air. At the same time, faint echoes of the same tune, variated and coming from afar, softly reverberate. Sounds from distant places. The team leader of Black Tortoise Team 3 glances around quickly. Red Zone and Blue Zone. The other zones are also holding their own ceremony events. Blue Zone's fireworks display, and the parade from the Red Zone, led by Magic Bunny. The insanely painful, joyful, horrific, and splendid procession had set off from the Magic Castle at the center of the Red Zone, accompanied by loud music, screams, and cheers. The details were impossible to discern from this distance, but the team leader could roughly gauge the parade's route, and she sensed it clearly. Their destination is here. This was not the case yesterday. They must have changed their route. As soon as this ceremony ends, that parade will also come to a stop at the Red Gate before the garden. And the moment operating hours conclude,
The entire parade will come flooding in, I guess.
Ah, sorry. Did I surprise you?
had he made the same guess? The team leader quietly observes the employee wearing the dolphin mask, who bows apologetically toward her before nodding in acknowledgement. She wasn't young enough to openly express hostility toward the suspicious pharmaceutical company, especially after witnessing the strange exchange earlier. It doesn't seem all right at all. Right before the ceremony began, the yellow mascot had sent all the employees away from the garden, having them gather in front of the resort building, as if protecting them from something. Consequently, the staff were observing the illumination show from a considerable distance, nearly as far as the resort building itself. And yet, seeing her team members staring as if hypnotized, the team leader feels acutely the bizarre nature of this mascot ceremony. And if her eyes were not mistaken, that dolphin-masked employee had been attempting to help the mascot, who had insisted on protecting his staff until the end. Younger agents often conflate the unethical nature of an organization with the individual personalities of its members, but reality was not so simple. This applied equally to creatures from ghost stories, and that only made matters more complicated. She shook off those thoughts. There was work to do, and now was precisely the time to act. Toward the finale of the illumination, as the yellow mascot takes center stage, his horns burst into brilliant golden light, blossoming into flowers. At that moment, the yellow mascot turns toward them, lifting his front paw and waving theatrically, as if part of the act. A will conveyed without words. At that signal, the employees started running frantically. Their destination was the gate leading to the blue zone. The ground near the gate began shaking and rising. The illumination raced toward its climax. Beneath the feet of the yellow mascot standing in the center of the garden, lights gathered, lifting him gently into the air. From the mascot's horn, beams of light grew, spreading out and swaying like a massive tree, towering above the resort building. Breathtakingly blooming flowers. And as the mascot raised his hand perfectly timed with the end of the music, his name exploded in midair, crystallizing into complete recognition.
Master of the Cheerful Theme Park's Yellow Zone.
Everyone knew. It was proclaimed to all. Congratulations. Now, he was the perfect mascot of this place. And the yellow mascot was overwhelmed by an extraordinary new sensation. He felt the entirety of the Yellow Zone. He knew everything happening in his resort, could control all mascots as he wished, and understood every law and governing Cheerful Theme Park. Now he was the absolute master and mascot of the zone. An instinctive thrill maximized the splendor of the illumination, culminating in one last magnificent burst of golden flowers, concluding the mascot ceremony. However, at that moment, something emerged beyond the red gate. The parade of madness. The revolting, overwhelming, and splendid march led by Magic Bunny reached its end. The red rabbit, the carriage, the giant balloon shaped like a smiling face, and various parade floats stopped before the gate, having concluded their last sacrificial ceremony. Lights flashed madly as if challenging the illumination, then abruptly went out. Simultaneously, the waves of brilliant illumination faded into a final silence. The gently rearranged version of the theme song began playing. The park was approaching closing time.
Attention, please. The theme park will close in 10 minutes.
The garden became quiet. Guests who had enjoyed the illumination began dispersing, quickly heading toward the exit gates. The zone quickly regained its busy tranquility. It was the final stage of operations. The yellow mascots tidied up the night garden, courteously guided the remaining guests, and managed the resort facilities. No movement could be seen beyond the dark red gate. The yellow mascots lightly celebrated the day's successful event, checking to ensure no guests were left in the lobby. No movement could be seen beyond the dark red gate. The serene resort building now stood quietly illuminated, its soft lights gently visible through the lobby windows. Inside, the yellow mascots waved goodbye to the departing guests heading toward the exit gate. No movement could be seen beyond the dark red gate. Then the lobby doors closed. Beyond the dark red gate, countless red eyes began popping open.